For today's topic is healing and the science of Ayurveda. Two big oceans to be covered in a single journey, that too a very short journey. The subject healing itself is vast, deep and profound, and the science Ayurveda is still more vast, deep and profound. What we can do in one lecture is a positive introduction of the scope of the subject with some hints of real practical value here and there, if possible. We will start with the subject, the scope of healing. We have many systems of medicine in the modern age, apart from what we call the classical system or allopathy. It was once considered that allopathy was self-sufficient and enough for everything. But the advent of the Aquarian age has made the human being more and more self-aware and self-conscious. And there are more number of people than ever who can understand things more and more than in the previous decades, with a growing awareness into their common sense, which is the real basis or the birthplace of every science, and also a growing awareness into the intuitive aspect of human mind. A spiritual age has already begun. When the human being started his journey from the flesh and blood into the kingdom of the senses and mind, and deeper still into what we call the discrimination, and deeper still into the right type of understanding, and deeper still what we call the will or the buddhic plane, and deeper still what we call the soul consciousness, where one can live in group contact with others, and he is traveling towards the other planets in the inner world also, and also towards the center of all planets, that is the solar center within himself or herself, the center which we call the real I am in all of us. And this is what we call spiritualism, and this is an age when the human being is taking a journey to his spirit. This has made a deeper understanding possible, and this is leading the human mind away from what is more valuable towards something which is more useful. So, from the costly and valuable things to the simple and useful things, man is traveling on one side. On the other side, the objective side, he is crazily taking a journey into the outer planets without knowing the purpose and without performing his duties on this planet. So this is a strange period through which the human being is passing. On one side, he is spending enormous quantities of human energy, symbolized by billions of dollars, that are being spent to experiment with the bodies that are sent to other planets. And those who are traveling into the inner worlds are growing solidly and more meaningfully, and silently they are preparing ground for the next generation. And we are not much concerned with the objective travelers, because they are leaving our planet before they are finishing their duties to the beings of this planet. So, such a period necessitated a better understanding of the healing science also, as a result of which man discovered that the scope of the classical science of medicine is not self-sufficient, that the whole scope of allopathy is diverted only towards the physical plane, and the best medication and the best surgery and the best experiments on radiology are in no way better than scavenging the physical tissues. And when diseases exist on higher planes, the causes of diseases exist in our mind in the form of our taste to misbehave. The results of the disease are being experienced on the physical vehicle, just as the activity of television is received in the little box which we have in our house. What is the use of shouting the fellows not to fight when you are looking to a scene of fighting in a television? In such a way, the classical medicine is found not self-sufficient, and the human mind automatically began to search for some new dimensions. In trying to do so, it has broken its barriers of orthodoxy, and it has crossed the limitations of time and found no objection to travel into the past and into the future. The result of the human mind into the past is a proper understanding of the ancient sciences like Ayurveda, acupuncture, etc. And the journey into the future resulted in advanced sciences like the homeopathy, dietetics, naturopathy, hydrotherapy, color healing, sound healing, musicotherapy, and magnetotherapy. And now, for the first time after a new journey of about 3 or 4 decades, the human mind began to test some self-sufficiency in the medical science. Yet, there are fields where gaps have been left. And the human mind discovered that these gaps can be filled by a step of correlation, that is, correlating the different branches of medical science and also trying to understand that the secret of healing is existing within himself, not outside. Even though medicine is used, it's not medicine that is curing diseases, because there is no use of administering medicine into the body of a corpse. If medicine were to be the real curative, it should cure the diseases of the corpse also when administered. Once again, humanity rediscovered the truth that it is not the medicines that are curing diseases, but there is a force that is there inside our constitutions, which is continuously working with 2 functions of its own. One is self-preservation, the second is self-protection. The first is being done by an intake of food and drink and the excretion of unnecessary material, intake of fresh air, and intake of healthy thoughts that can heal through a process of good conversations with accomplished persons. The human mind rediscovered the fact that the constitution of a living individual that is, a biological unit is a coexistence of three entities: matter, force, and mind. And a proper coexistence causes health. A disturbance of the mutual relationship causes disease, and that the human constitution is exactly the same as an electromagnet and a dynamo. There is no difference between a generator of energy and the living organism. The principle of working in both the entities being an alternation of currents. In the electromagnet and in the dynamo, it is caused by the change of direction in the magnet, whereas in the human constitution, it is caused by an alternation of currents that is affected by two processes which we call the inhalation and the exhalation. Just as the magnet has something invisible also around itself, which we can call the lines of force and the polarity, we have in our constitution something invisible going on, which is more true than the matter we are seeing, and which is responsible for the maintenance of this matter. And this self-preservation is being affected by that force which is working inside. And the self-protecting activity is also affected by the same force, and not the medicines. Whenever there is a disturbance in the constitution, immediately there is an attempt from inside to rectify and cure itself. And unless we disturb the constitution continuously from the external causes, it has its own way to rectify itself and cure itself. When it is not capable of doing it for certain reasons, some substances which we call medicines will help the vital force to cure itself. In either case, it is not the medicines that are curing, it is the vital force that is curing itself. This fact is once again understood by the humanity in the present cycle, and this made us search for new and self-sufficient methods of healing. It is understood and verified again and again that medicine plays a role of 20% in the process of curing and healing, and the remaining 80% depends upon other factors. For example, our behavior with food and drink, our behavior with work and rest and sleep, our behavior with sex, and our behavior with friends, neighbors, and relatives, and those whom we call our enemies. So, the 80% of the causes of disease exist in these factors. The misbehavior converted into a long-standing habit in our daily routine. These are understood as the real causes of disease, and 80% of the real cure consists of removing these causes, whereas the remaining 20% can be done by medicines. And the one who depends upon his or her cure completely on medicines will be having a temporary relief daily, while in the long run will be thoroughly disappointed and becomes a total wreck in life. So, the use of medicine should be minimized, and our misbehavior towards things should be rectified. New and positive habits should be engrafted into life. Positive dynamism is to be developed in our way of living. And the magnetic vibrations of our mind should be altered in such a way that we feel a brotherhood with everyone. For example, when we see bad people, we should be able to understand that they are not bad people. Many of them are weak people having weaknesses, just as we too have our own weakness. And they are only badly behaving people and not bad people. So, our irritability and impatience towards them will be transformed into sympathy and love, so that we may give a greater possibility for them to rectify.
Yes, sir.
And if our circumstances permit, we can give them a hand to walk together in life, and sometimes lift up a little bit into better circumstances. As we try to do this, we understand that we are becoming more and more healthy. Our mental health improves at first. Our dynamism is on the increase, and the magnetic vibrations that are positive will be developing. And in course of time, for example, in 1 year or 2 years, find that our road. This is for the simple reason that it is the vital force that is building the tissues of the body. And the body is not maintained by chance or blind action. A self-conscious activity is going on in the constitution, which is more conscious than our conscious mind. For example, our conscious mind sleeps when we sleep, whereas the consciousness that is working inside never sleeps. For example, when we are sleeping, our lungs are not sleeping, our heart is not sleeping, our blood and circulation are not sleeping, our stomach and intestines are not sleeping. No organ or no part of the body is sleeping when the foolish fellow, the mind, is sleeping. Because when he sleeps, nothing is lost. Because real intelligences that are at work are not sleeping. When we compare our intelligence with the intelligences that are working in us, we should be really ashamed of our own achievements, because we cannot protect ourselves, whereas the intelligent forces that are working are protecting us. For example, if nature asks us to breathe for ourselves for 1 hour, what happens? What happens if a fellow sleeps? Immediately he dies. If a fellow is telephoning to his friend, the mind goes to the conversation and forgets about one's own respiration, because our intelligence is foolish enough to believe that there is something more useful and more immediate. Immediately the respiration stops. The telephone drops off from our hand. We fall on the ground and die. Nature knows that our intelligence is too foolish, so it never depends upon our intelligence for important things in our constitution. It has reliable intelligences that are working in what we call the vital force and the mind. It is these forces and intelligences that are protecting our health, that are indicating the needs of the body by producing hunger and thirst, by producing sleep. And it is these intelligence and forces that are healing whenever there is some disease. Immediately we can understand that if something goes wrong with our health, it goes wrong in spite of the working of these intelligences. That means we might have worked for a very long time in a wrong way to produce a disease. that we might have misbehaved for such a long time as to establish a disorder in the Constitution. This is the real cause of any disease, and the theory of contagion and infection and the theory of the microbe and the virus is totally false and unscientific, which will be proved within the next 2 or 3 decades. No doubt there is infection and contagion, but it never occurs without any cause. Unless we permit the contagion into our constitution, infection never takes place. When there is an infectious disease in a town or a city, when the microbe or virus is traveling in air, when all are breathing the same air, how is it only some people are going sick and some are not being affected by the contagion at all? There are higher scientific laws about contagion and infection, which the present accepted scientist is quite ignorant of. And we have to go into the nature of those laws. And strangely, in the past there were scientists who understood that particular law. They have understood how by our behavior we create susceptibility to contagion by our mental misbehavior, like anger, jealousy, suspicion, fear, etc. Unless we admit such mental aberrations into our behavior, it is not at all possible for any contagion to affect us. This law will be understood within the next 2 or 3 decades by science, and once again it will be established. And the present foolish notions about contagion will go away. The ancient scientists who understood this law established a way of living. They have made a formula of that way of living. They have given us that particular formula in the name of the science which we call Ayurveda. So don't misunderstand that Ayurveda is a science of disease and medicine. It is mainly a science of health and not a science of disease. Unfortunately, the modern medical science is only a science of disease and its cure. We have nothing to offer to the poor medical student by way of the science of health today. So the modern medical student is trained into a negative idolatry of disease, accepting only the existence of disease. He is trained not to visualize the absolute existence of health, a very ghastly and negative aspect of health. One of the fundamental laws of healing is that the more we think of our disease, the more we go sick. We are expected to take care of solutions and not problems. We should understand the problems within a very short time and keep our mind in solutions for a very long time. We should remember what to do, and we should not remember for a long time what is making us suffer, because suffering is given by nature to us to understand that we have defaulted in our life, to understand that we are doing something wrong, and to understand that there is something wrong in the Constitution, and to warn us that we have to change our way of life. That is the meaning of pain and suffering. So, a medical science which